So welcome back to this module. So in this module, we will build this particular newsletter pop-up application. So when I click on this particular subscribers button, you can see there is a pop-up appeared. That is the newsletter pop-up. So when I click on this cross button, it's going to close the pop-up. And if I again click on this subscribers button, you can see again a pop-up will shown. So we will build this particular application. We are also going to set up the font awesome icon, because this particular icon that we're actually using inside our project is actually achieved by using the font awesome. So in order to get this icon, we need to use the font awesome website. So I will explain you the steps how to create the account on the font awesome website and how to get the link of the HTML, means the how to get the CSS file so that we can use it. Alright, so we are going to do all of this stuff in the next video, which is the HTML part of this newsletter pop-up application. Now for the HTML part, I have already created the projects inside my Visual Studio Code. So for the saving of the time, I have already created these files, which is index.html, style.css and descript.js file. And I have also linked these files by using the link tag, which is used for the CSS, and then the script tag to link the script.js file. And all of these files are present in the same directory, so that is the reason I have to just only specify the name of the files with their extensions. Before I start the code inside the index.html, the first thing is we need to set up the font awesome library. So for that you need to use the website. So the website that we need to use is this particular one, which is the cdnjs. So you just need to type only the cdnjs and click on the first link. So when I click on this particular first link, this is the website. So simply you need to click on this libraries, and here you need to search for the font awesome. So the first one, this is what we need to use. So simply click on that, and here you just need to copy this particular copy link tag. So simply copy it and come back to your project under the head section inside the index.html. So here you need to paste the code. Now I'm going to click on this view and word wrap so that you can see everything in just only one screen. Okay. And you can see now we have successfully linked the font awesome library to our project, which is the cross origin anonymous version of the library. So now we have the access of the font awesome. So now once we type the code, we can actually use this particular cross icon classes inside our project. Alright. Now the first thing is we need to actually create this particular button, that is this one. This is actually done with the use of the anchor tag. And then once we click on that, we need to create this newsletter container. Inside of that, everything will be placed. Alright. So coming back to our version of the application, that is a version that we want to develop. And now here we need to specify the anchor tag. So anchor tag, and for the reference, we don't require this reference tag because we want to actually modify this particular anchor tag as a button. So that is the reason. So I'm going to here add a class, and this is actually going to have a name called button. And after that, we need to specify the on click, and on click is going to like toggle newsletter, and also we need to provide the round brackets. And after that, we need to here provide the text that we want to display inside the button. So subscribe us. So if I just simply control save it, you can see we get this particular text. So with the use of the CSS, we are going to modify it. Alright. And after that, we need to create the container, means the newsletter pop-up, that is this one. Once we click on that particular subscribers button, then we want to display. So now we are going to create this particular structure, means this particular newsletter. Alright. So for that, we need to here create the division. So I'm going to here create the div tag, and we need to provide a class like a class hidden. Okay. And then we need to provide the ID tag, and instead of that, we need to use the newsletter, the name of the ID for the division element. First I need to actually create this particular cross icon. So for that, we need to actually here, once I click on the subscribers button, we want to display this cross icon. So for that, after the division, before creating everything, like before creating the rest of the things, first I'm going to done with this particular cross tag. So I'm going to copy this particular link tag and coming back to here, and I'm going to paste the code. Alright. Then I'm going to split this anchor tag code into multiple lines, and then I need to actually do it like this. So the class now at this point of time is going to be like close, and then here the on click event is going to be like toggle newsletter. and then inside of that, just remove this particular text. Here I will be using the I tag, and then inside of that I need to specify the class. So this class is going to be like font awesome class, so FA, and here I need to provide the times. Alright, and then FA hyphen then 2x. Alright, so this will be the class which is the font awesome class, and then we need to provide here another attribute which is the area, like this one, area, and it's like hidden, and then we need to provide here true. Control save it. Now if I click it, actually it is the final version of the application. You can see we get the cross icon. I have actually pressed the Ctrl S in the browser, so that is the reason this particular save as pop-up appeared. Now you can see we get the cross icon inside our project. So that is what actually we have done here. Now it's time to create the layout for the newsletter. So coming back to this particular division that has a class hidden, under this I need to create the h2 element. So this is the h2 element which is like join. So I'm going to here type the text exclusive news letter. Alright, so this will be our heading. You can see now we get the heading join our exclusive news letter, or I can just simply capitalize the first character of the our word. And after that, here I need to create the paragraph tag. So I'm going to type the text. So I am actually copying the text so that I will save a little bit of the time. So you can see now I have copied the text, which is follow my other courses as well from my instructor profile, or whatever you want to display here, a paragraph tag. Okay, and after that I need to create the division, because for the division for this particular thing, that is for this one, so that is the reason we need to create the thing inside the division tag. Then I'm going to give the class as box. Inside of that we need to create the input element, that is input, and the type is going to be like email, and then we need to specify the placeholder is going to like enter email. Okay, and then here we need to provide the another division tag, and then inside of that we want to specify the class. So the class is going to be like box. Again, I'm actually giving the same name to the class. Then we need to create the button, which is a sign up button, just for the designing purpose. This sign up button doesn't going to perform any action, so it is like submit button. And then we need to create the value that we want to display, or I can just simply say a value that is going to, or I can just simply remove the value because there is no need, because I'm going to display the sign in, or I can say that this sign up button. So sign up button. If I control save it, now you can see we get the input type and also this particular sign up button. Alright, so this is what we have done with the HTML part of the project, which is the newsletter project. So from the next part, we're going to start with the CSS part of this particular newsletter pop-up application, so that it will be look like this particular one, the final version of the application. So that's it for this particular lecture. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much. So now it's time to start with the CSS part of the project. So for that, we need to use the style.css file. Inside of that, first I'm going to select the universal selector, and inside of this particular universal selector, so here I don't need to specify the dot. So this is a universal selector, and then I need to use the box sizing to border box, and then I need to also specify the padding to like 0, and then we need to specify the margin to 0 as well, which will actually reset the basic styling of the browser. You can see here now the default styling of the browser is actually reset. If I control save it, and now if I apply this particular code, you can see now the default styling of the browser is changed. And then we need to specify the body element. Inside of the body element, first I'm going to select the display to flex, and then I need to specify the align items to like center, and then also I need to specify the justify content to the center. Now you can see everything is actually placed at the center of the screen. Okay, and then I need to provide here a font family. So font family, here I will be using like we have this particular font, and I will be using here a serif font, that is this one. You can see now the font is applied to the project. Then I need to provide the height. So height is going to like 100 VH, which actually move the content to the center of the browser. And then also we need to use here a background color. So background color that I will be using here like 7C3A and then F8. So this will be the background color that I will be used for this particular project. Okay, so that's it for the body element. Now it's time to select the button. So first thing, we need to use the button, that is the class of the button. If I come back to the browser, means the index.html, so this is the anchor tag. So now we are going to provide the code style for this particular button, which is the button class that has an anchor element. And first we need to specify the position to relative, and then I need to provide the padding. So padding is going to be like 15 pixel from top and bottom, and from left and right it is going to be like 20 pixel. Okay, and then I need to provide the font size. So font size I will be using here a 1.5 RAM unit. Alright, so control save it. Now you can see the font is actually increased. Then I need to provide the background color, so I will be using here a white color. You can see now the background color to the anchor element is actually applied. Then I will be using the display to inline block. Okay, then I have used here a display inline block, and then I will be using the text decoration to none. Okay, so that there is no strike, means the underline will be appear to the anchor tag. And after that we need to provide the color. So the color for this font is like 5C4800. You can see now the color of the button is actually changed. And then we need to provide the cursor to pointer. Okay, this will be the cursor to pointer, and then we need to use the border radius property, which is going to be 4 pixel to get the rounded corners. Alright, and then at last we need to provide the transition. So transition is going to like 0.5s. Alright, this will be the transition for the button. So if I hover over it, nothing will be happen. So we need to also provide the hover for this particular button. So I will be selecting the button again, button, and then we need to use the hover. Then to start the body of the code for the button, then we need to use here a letter spacing. So letter spacing is going to be like 0.1 rem units. If I control save it, if I hover over it, you can see now the letter spacing of the button is actually changing. Alright, next we need to provide the code for the newsletter, which is this particular one. So we will be using here an ID. So I'm going to copy the ID. So it is an ID selector, so we need to use here a hash character, that is this one, right? And then we need to paste the name of the ID, and then we need to start the block of the code for this particular newsletter. All right, and then we need to here provide the position to fixed, and after that we need to provide the top to -100%. Control save it. You can say everything is actually like fixed at the top, which is like 100%. Okay, so it is actually outside of the viewport. So if I just remove this top 100%, which is the -1, then you can see it's actually placed at the, like they are overlapping. So that is the reason I have actually used here a top -100%. All right, so it is not actually in the visibility of the screen, that is this particular one, which is the newsletter. And after that we need to here provide the left as well. So from left it is going to like 50%. Okay, and then we need to provide the transform property. So transform translate, that is this one. So it is going to like -50%, and then we need to provide the second argument, which is also like -50%. Okay, and then we need to provide the, actually I just first I'm going to comment out these two properties. First I need to actually provide the entire style to this particular thing so that I can see the changes as well. Then we need to provide the background color. So background color is going to be like white. So now I need to provide the z index property, which is going to be like 1000. So that is actually at the top of the button. And then we need to provide the width. So width is going to like 450 pixel. And then we need to provide the padding. So padding is like 80 pixel. And then here we need to provide the 50 pixel padding, and then also we need to provide the 50 pixel padding. Control save it. You can see now it's actually at the corner of the window. That is because we have used here a transform and translate. So if I also comment out this particular property, then it is at the center of the screen so that we can see everything more clearly and just see the style code result. And after that I need to provide the transform. So transform, not transform, we actually need to provide the transition, which is going to like 0.5s. And then we need to provide the border radius property. that is this one, which is for the rounded corners. And after that, we need to provide the visibility to hidden. If I do that, then you can see it's actually hidden from the browser screen. And also I'm going to just uncomment this all code, and also this transform and translate one. Actually there are two, so I need to delete these comments character. Okay, and also this one. Control save it. Now we are only left with this particular subscribe us button. Okay, so that is for the newsletter. Then we need to actually add the code for the newsletter, so that it is actually at the active one, newsletter. Okay, and we need to do that with the use of the .active, and then to start its block of the code. And first thing is we need to set the visibility. So visibility is going to be like visible, and then we need to use the top, which is going to be like 50%. So if I click on it, then nothing will be happen, because all of these things will be achieved by using the JavaScript. So this active one, that is this particular style code, will be used inside the JavaScript. So I have already written, because once we start with the JavaScript, we don't want to come back to the CSS part to actually write this particular code. All right. So the next thing is we need to provide this code for the h2 element. So if I just uncomment this visibility unhidden code, and also these three, because again I need to check the code for the buttons, that is this input type, the sign up button, and also this paragraph element, and also this one. So I need to style all of this one. And one thing is actually we are facing an issue. There is no cross icon is actually visible, and the reason for that, I think, because I have actually added the cross icon code at the outside of the division tag, that is this one. And I am very right, because this is the newsletter container. Inside of that everything will be placed, but I have actually placed this anchor tag, which is for the cross icon, at the outside of the division. So I need to place it inside the division. So now you can see this particular cross icon is also appearing to this particular container. So there is a mistake that I have now fixed. So now coming back to the CSS part of the project. So first we need to actually provide the style code for this h2 element. So again I'm going to copy this newsletter, and here we need to select the h2, and then we need to start its block of the code. Inside of that, first we need to set the text alignment to the center. The next thing, we need to change the color. So color I will be using here as 0, means not 0, 05C4800. So this will be the color, which is the little brown version of the color. Okay, and then we need to provide the font size. So font size is going to be like 24 pixel. And after that we need to provide the margin. So margin from top and bottom is going to like 20 pixel. Then from left it is like you can see now the margin is actually applied. You can even increase the margin from left and right to 100 pixel if you want, but actually it doesn't look great, so 10 pixel will look fine. All right, so that is the code for the h2 element. Similarly, we need to provide the code for the paragraph element. So coming back to the next line, and here we need to close the tag, and then we need to select the paragraph element. Instead of that, first we need to provide the text alignment property. So text alignment is going to the center of the screen. Now you can see the content of the paragraph is actually aligned at the center of the newsletter container. And then we need to provide the color. So color, here I will be using the hash symbol, then the same color that we have used for the h2 element. So I will be using the same color. Now you can see the content of the paragraph element is also changed. Now the next thing is we need to provide the code for this box element. So this is the box class. So just you need to provide the code for the box element so that we can actually style it. So coming back to this CSS version. So again, we need to select this particular one, news, and here we need to select the box. So it is a class selector. So under the ID tag, we need to select so under the ID selector newsletter, we need to select the box class element that has a class. So what is actually mean, under the newsletter, we need to select the class box. Means under this particular newsletter ID, we need to select every box elements that has a class box. So it is actually mean, if you are familiar with the fundamentals of the CSS. So the first thing is we need to select the position to relative. Alright, and then we need to provide the width to like 100%. And after that, we need to provide the margin. Top is going to be like 20 pixel. And then we need to provide the display, not it's like display flex. And then we need to provide the align items to the center. And then we need to provide the justify content to the center. If I control save it, now you can see the content is actually modified. Alright, and next we need to provide the code for this particular input type and the button. So I'm going to select here input, and also we need to specify the code for the button as well, and then we need to start this block of the code. So the first thing is we need to set the width. So width is going to be like 100%. You can see now the width of the elements is actually changed, which is the input element and the button. Then we need to provide the border. So the border is going to like 1 pixel, solid border, and then we need to provide the RGBA color. It is going to like 0, 0, 0, and alpha is going to like 0.1. Right, and after that we want to provide the padding is going to like 15 pixel, and then we need to provide the outline, which is the outline. We need to modify the outline to none, and then font size is going to like 1 rem unit. And after that we need to provide the font family. So font family is going to like serif font. You can see now our card will almost took a shape like the final version of the application. Alright, it almost look like the final version. Just we need to provide some couple of more code so that it will actually be the similar like the final version. After specifying the code, then we need to actually modify the button. So we need to select the button and then we need to modify its code. So the first thing is we need to remove the border from the button, which is going to be like none. If I control save it, now you can see the border from the button is actually removed. Then we need to provide the width. So width is going to like 150 pixel. You can see now the width of the button is actually reduced. After that we need to provide the letter spacing, which is going to like 0.1 rem unit. Right, this the result of the code is applied. Once I control save it, then we need to provide the background color. So the background color that I will be using here is 73AF8. So this will be the background color will be used for the button. And then we need to provide the color. So we will be using here an entirely white color. Control save it. You can see now the color of the text for the button is also changed. And then we need to provide the rounded corner. So for that we need to use the border radius property, which will gives us the rounded corners of the 4 pixel. And after that we need to provide the cursor pointer. Okay, so now we can see the content of this particular is actually changed entirely. Right, actually we need to come back to the 100% of the zoom. Now the only thing that we need to fix is this particular one. Right now it is actually appearing at this particular left side of the newsletter container and also at the bottom. So we need to actually display at the top right corner of the newsletter container. So for that we need to select the close class, that is this one, close, because we name this particular anchor tag as a class close. So we need to select this class selector close. So I'm going to use here a dot because it is a class selector, and then we need to paste the name of the class selector, which is the close, and then we just start its block of the code. So the first thing is we need to use the position to be absolute. Once I did that, then I need to change the cursor to pointer. Once we hover over it, cursor means the pointer is changed to cursor one, which is a hand pointer. And then we need to provide the top property, which is going to like 15 pixel. So from top it is like 15 pixel, and from right it is going to be like 20 pixel. Alright, so you can see now it looks like this one. And then we need to come back to the newsletter container where we have actually changing the top left hand transform properties. So first I need to do that, and then we need to also create this visibility property to hidden, because we have done with the designing part of the newsletter. So in the next part, which is the JavaScript part, we need to use this selector so that whenever we click on this particular button, our newsletter will be pop up. Like whenever we click on it, our newsletter will be pop up, and whenever we click on this close one, the newsletter will close, means the pop-up will be closed. So we are going to do this stuff in the next part of the project. which is the newsletter pop-up application. So now it's time to start with the JavaScript part of the newsletter pop-up application. So for that, we need to use the script.js file. So inside of this particular script.js file, we need to create the toggle newsletter function. So that we have specified inside of the on-click event of the button, which is the toggle newsletter function. So I'm going to copy the name of the toggle newsletter function along with its round brackets, and coming back to the script.js file again. So here first I'm going to type the function keyword, then I'm going to paste the name of the function, and then I'm going to start its curly brackets, which is actually the body of the function. And after that, we need to get the reference of the newsletter container. So for that, we need to create the variable of type const. It is going to like newsletter. Then we need to specify the document.getElement by id, because we have specified the id to the newsletter container, that is this one. So I'm going to copy this particular id name, and coming back to the script.js again, here inside of this document.getElement by id, I'm going to paste the name newsletter. And after that, we need to use the class list so that we can toggle the class that we have actually created inside the style.css. So what I mean here, I'm going to type the name of the variable, which is newsletter dot class list, and then we need to toggle by using this particular toggle method, and inside of that we need to pass the class name, that is active. Alright, so if I control save it, and now if I come back to the browser where my project is actually running, so if I click on this particular subscribers button, you can see now the pop-up of the newsletter is appeared. Now if I click on this close button, now you can see the pop-up is actually closed. So now with this just 2 lines of the code under this particular toggle newsletter function, we have successfully achieved the pop-up functionality of the newsletter pop-up project. So yeah, that's it for this particular project. If you like this project, then leave a review, because your review definitely going to motivate me to create more awesome content like this. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much.